Welcome to The Real Deal with Jason Silverman, the podcast dedicated to helping you build the business of your dreams and live the life you always hoped for, with valuable and fun tips and info to make your life easier and more fun. And now, here's your host, a man who sprinkles metal shavings on his breakfast cereal just for fun, Jason Silverman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Real Deal with Jason Silverman. I'm your host, Jason Silverman, and I'm thrilled to share some time with you today. As you know, I am always on the hunt for interesting as well as super smart, real deal guests, and I got to tell you, today's show is a winner. I want to introduce my listeners to somebody who's truly been there and done that, and I'm excited to pick his brain, not just for your benefit, but also for mine as well. So, get ready to enjoy that. Now, for the folks who I work with in any of my coaching programs, my mastermind group, or through Powerful Words, Character Development, or All-Star Cheer sites, you know how much I focus on the importance of building and maintaining valuable relationships in business, right? Well, this show is going to help us to do just that. So today, it's going to be my honor and privilege to share an amazing resource with you. You're going to love today's guest. He's got a ton of valuable information about something I feel is going to be life-changing for both you and your business. So strap yourself in. Today's show is going to be a blast. As I'm sure you already know, I'm committed to helping business owners just like you, to become more successful, enjoy your career more, and in general, make your life significantly more fun. Let's face it, folks, we only get one ride around this merry-go-round, and we want to make sure it is one hell of a ride. So, it is now that time, boys and girls. Put away your Facebook, stop surfing, get rid of your tablet, your PC, your dog, your cat, your spouse, your child, anything that might possibly be distracting you from today's show. You're about to get some great and immediately implementable information, and I don't want you to miss even a second of it. So, before we officially get going, let me give you a little bit of background about our guest today. Jason Treu is a top business and executive coach and sales trainer. He's a leading expert on human behavior, daring leadership, and relationship building. At the heart of his strategy is the understanding that people and your relationships are your true wealth. Everything we accomplish in life is with or through other people. He works with experts, entrepreneurs, and executives to help them get unstuck and stand out by building key skill sets, creating their vision and purpose, and building key relationships that impact the bottom line. His best-selling book, Social Wealth, the how-to guide on building personal and professional relationships, has sold more than 32,000 copies and has been #1 in 4 business and self-help categories. Jason received his law degree and master's in communications from Syracuse University, and he currently lives in Dallas. Jason, welcome to The Real Deal. I'm thrilled to have you today.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Jason, and speak to your fantastic tribe.
Well, it is my pleasure. Listen, before we get started, for those who haven't had the opportunity and pleasure of either meeting you or hearing you speak or reading your books, take a second, if you would, share your story with our listeners. What are you passionate about? What makes you tick? Who is Jason Treu?
I love people. I'm an extrovert to the core, and I think that's really important in life. I think the other thing is really giving, helping, and inspiring other people, and that really led me on my entrepreneurial path because I really started my own business from helping 2 of my friends help 2 of their friends move from one big city to another, and they were introverted and concerned about packing up their whole life and starting over from scratch, especially since they were more of an engineering type and were worried about building a whole new life, let alone starting a whole new career in another city. And that really helped me get on the path to start launching my coaching business. And then it's been a lot of iterations since then. So, and I've had a lot of fantastic experiences along the way. And if it wasn't for other people, I definitely wouldn't be here today. So the relationships you make will help you or sink you.
I love that. I love that line. Tell me this, at its core, why do people get stuck personally and professionally, on their way to success? Like what's getting in their way?
Well, the bottom line is what happens with people is they try to change themselves at the behavioral level, right? You hear all these New Year's resolutions. People are trying to lose weight, by exercising more and eating better. And what happens is that at the core of that, there's a lot of things that are happening at the conscious level and unconscious level. And the little voice inside of them, when they start to have resistance or negativity, tells them, see, I told you couldn't do that. And you get in this vicious cycle where you keep going back to the behavior. And ultimately, the challenge is that we have to move through our emotional core and feel all of these negative feelings that go on. And we do everything in our society not to feel things, not to share our emotions. And when people equate vulnerability with pain or something that's negative, they can't really delve deeper. And the challenge with that is that when you start delving deeper, one of the things that forms us is the things that happen when we're a child. Their relationships with adults and our parents really do the formations of who we are. And those patterns keep resurfacing in our life. So life is really about pattern recognition and understanding and seeing your blind spots. And the challenging thing is we can't do it alone. We need other people to help us do it. That's why there are coaches out there for everyone. And if there's a reason why Oprah has a coach, Tony Robbins has a coach, all these successful CEOs have coaches. I mean, there's a reason why, because they could see all these things on themselves and they'd be doing wonderfully by themselves, but they know they need other people.
That makes sense. Why do you feel like our emotions, are the gateway to creating extraordinary success?
Well, when you can deal with your emotions, you are much more in sync with other people. Because when you can share who you are as a person and be vulnerable and authentic and speak your truth with someone else, that's where the magic happens in life. Because that means you're aligned internally and externally, and you've done the work to see what patterns are going on inside of you and what no longer serves you and moving past that. And you can just relate with people. And part of it is having empathy, right? I mean, there's two different things. If you're sympathetic, it's like, oh, that's horrible, but that's not me. That would never happen to me, and you can't relate to someone. But empathy requires you to be in an emotional state where you can put yourself in someone else's shoes. And that means you've done the work, and also done the work and being vulnerable, meaning you can put yourself out there to other people and share who you are when you don't know what the outcome is and you're not in control of it.
Now, do me a favor, say more about that, because I feel like, you started with, the relationships with our parents, and those trends kind of revisiting us later. How does that work?
Well, I'll give you a real quick example. So I was working with someone probably 7 months ago in doing sales training, and a woman came and she was like in front of a group, I want to sell more, right? Which is a logical question in that environment. Well, as I was working through some questions with her, what I found out was that growing up, her grandmother and mother made fun of her high-pitched voice. And as she was growing up in college and beyond that, whenever she'd call home, both of them, when he talked to them separately, would tell her that you need to talk louder. I can't understand you. Why don't you change your voice? You need to speak differently. And all these patterns and things would resurface now as she was in her 30s on the phone, dialing up clients and talking to them or prospects. She'd replay the tape in her head of all these negative comments that went on about her voice, and she hated getting on the phone. So all the sales training in the world would not have helped her. What it did was to understand that that pattern was in her head right now, and how to turn it on its head was to now tell every client and every prospect the reason she got into sales was to get over her fear of being on the phone and her voice and really move forward in it and step into her power and claim it and own it. And that was a huge difference. And, after that, she started to kill it in all of her accounts and make way more money, was way more successful, was way happier, and reduced all the stress. And actually, she then got out of bed every day and looked forward to going to work and forward to being around people other than dreading it.
Wow. That's wild. I have a question that, somebody recently posed to me in one of my mastermind groups, and I feel like you'd be the perfect person to cover it. So, I gotta believe there are some secrets that most folks have not yet learned regarding, the skills of networking, like working a room. I know that this is something that, I'm very comfortable with. I'm always looking to get better at it, but I know that many folks I talk to freeze up. They get nervous. They hate it. They're terrified of it. Are there secrets so that you're able to kind of build that quick rapport and make people feel comfortable in that short amount of time?
Yeah, I think there's some stuff that you can do that can help people significantly. One is, I think before you ever enter the room is to get yourself excited about going. And you can do that through affirmations like, I'm going to have a great time, and people love meeting me, and sort of visualizing that, putting that to music, getting yourself in sync. You can also do something by offering to volunteer for an organization, especially if you're going to an event of some kind, right? You can offer, and the best place to go is offer to work the front desk, the check-in table, and ask to work the first shift, because that way you can meet some people in the organization before anyone is there. Everyone's excited to meet you because you're actually helping them. And when people come in, you have a reason to talk to them, and you're meeting all these people initially. So you can get in the flow. You have reason to talk to them because they have to check in with you. And then as you start working the room, you're interacting with people the second time, not just the first time. So I think that helps a lot. I think the other thing that happens too with people is that you need to get to the core of what people are and what they want in their own life and what they're really passionate about. So I like to ask people, questions in the beginning like, what brought you here today? Are you a part of this organization? Or some questions like that are really surface level. But then I like to ask people, what are you passionate about? Like, what products are you working on that you're excited about in your life? Because then you get down to what people really care about. And whether you're in a professional area or you're in a social arena, you're getting to what matters to that person, right? If you ask someone, what do you do for a living? Or, what's your job or anything about that? They've been through that script 1,000 times and it hasn't worked out for them. And they meet a lot of boring people and people they just don't care about. But if you switch it and you actually ask them a question that connects to their emotional core about something that they're excited about, you'll see people get much more alive and they'll be much more interested in that conversation because no one's ever asked them that question. I've asked thousands of people that question, and people keep telling me, I ask all the time, they've never been asked that question, even by people who they're married to, about people that are really close in their life. And that way you can ask them that question and, ask them other questions as they're talking about it. And then at some point, you can ask them a question on so what challenges are you having, with that passion? What help could you use? Well, that way you can actually help them with what they love to do. And that might be a contact. It could be a resource. It could be that you don't know anything to help them, but you can get their contact information and follow up with them and just send them information. And even if you can't help them in any way, the fact that you followed up with them and that you're interested shows them a lot. And I find that is really a key piece of it. The other thing too is just be a listener, right? People love talking about themselves. So if you ask them questions, they will tell you answers. And that's what builds rapport with people, is being an active listener. And I found through conversations with people, it doesn't matter whether someone doesn't know me at all at the end of the conversation. It's better that they talk 80% and I talk 20% because they don't have people in their life that listen to them, even people that are close to them. So if you do things like that, and especially if you think to yourself, what would someone do in my life that was in my inner circle, was really close to me? How would they treat me? And if you start treating everyone around you like that, magic will happen, especially if you do it to acquaintances.
I love this. I absolutely love this. Let me delve one step deeper, and then I actually want to talk about social wealth if you're open to it.
Sure.
If you could put yourself in the shoes of somebody, and I'm thinking more of my clientele, where they are, an after-school activity center owner, and they're putting themselves out in the public eye. So maybe they're at an event, maybe they're at a Chamber of Commerce event, maybe it's some sort of charity event within the community. What might be one or two things they could start with as far as breaking the ice, as opposed to just coming in and saying, yeah, well, I'm that cheer gym owner, or I'm that karate guy, or what could just be really easy ways for them to break out of their shell? Because I got to believe this has been a major sticking point for folks.
I mean, I think you go up and say, hi, how are you doing? Isn't this a fantastic day? I'm excited to meet you. Tell me a little bit about yourself, right? I mean, if you get in there enthusiastic, right, maybe you just put your hand on someone's shoulder, you give them a smile. I mean, most people don't smile, right? Just put yourself out there and say something that's fun, right? Saying, hey, how are you doing? So what brought you here to this fantastic event, right? And then they'll say something and just keep asking them questions and get engaged, right? I mean, the bottom line is that if you help people and get them inspired and get them excited and make them feel positive and good about themselves, what you do is meaningless, because they'll eventually find out and they'll want to help you. And that's the secret to all of this. If you stop getting attached at what you're trying to get out of the interaction, and just be in the interaction, you will get 10 times more out of it. Because again, people are always worried about getting taken advantage of, right? What does that person want? What's their angle? Well, if you go into every conversation without any of that, you will do so much better, right? Even in an environment like you're going to a charity event and you're in that situation and maybe you want some people to be a part of your organization, to donate their time or their money, be on their board, be a sponsor. If you actually just treat people like other people and someone who you're interested in and excited about and get to know them as a person, they will want to help you because they don't meet people like you. So it's much easier at that point to ask them to interact and be a part of your world.
Got it. This is so fabulous. All right, talk to me for a second, if you would. Talk to me about social wealth. Number one, what made you write it? What was the impetus behind it? And number two, on a brief overview, why is it one of the most important books that people should be reading today?
Well, one of the things that I found was I was reading all these different books, and I found that there was a lot of fluff in relationship building books. And I find that also that some of them were on this personal part of it, the social life part of it, and then other pieces of it were on the business side of things. But the reality is we're all one person. We're not two different people. So you need to be able to integrate all of that in one. And if you're in a business environment, there are social opportunities. And when you're in a personal environment or social environment, there are business stuff too. So you got to come in as the right person. And I also found these books had a lot of fluff. I mean, there's a lot of great books out there that I read, but they're 250 pages, 300 pages, and a lot of them are a lot of examples, frankly, that people get tired of reading, and they're not really instructional. And I wanted to make a book that was, create a book that was under 150 pages that would give people practical steps that they could take to be a blueprint that they can never interact with me, and they can be very successful going out and building relationships that they wanted. Whether they wanted to build 10 relationships or 10,000, it didn't really matter. And I wanted to share with them all the interactions I've had, because I've built a huge network here in Dallas of 15,000 people. When I was writing the book that I figured out, I probably have, it's probably around 30,000 people that I have right now in my network, give or take some. And I know how to build relationships. And I'm a human behavioralist at the bottom line. I've spent a long time getting to know people. I'm very social, and I probably run into an average week of 500 people. So I know what make people tick. Like, I understand it before they even know what they're going to say to me. I played out all these conversations and I've seen them, so I can really help people take their life and go to the next level. And part of it is, even when people come to me and they say to me, well, Jason, all I want to do is meet a handful of people. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to give you an example right now. Tell me what you'd pick. If you had a chance to meet your best friend, your spouse, your business partner in a room of 5 people or in a room full of 100 people, what would you choose? And every person says, well, of course I would choose the 100. And I'm like, so why are you living your life like there's only 5 people in the room? Life's about meeting a lot of people. You just have to, because you have to get to know other people and figure out what you like and what you want. And part of that is through some comparison and interactions and seeing what types of people jive with you. You can read a book, you can do all the tests you want, but at the end of the day, you've got to take courageous action in your life. And you've got to meet people, because that is going to be your success in life, is other people helping you. Because if you think you can go alone, you can't. You will need other people in your life, both personally and professionally. And I think it's absolutely critical. I don't care whether you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, you have social anxiety, you need people. And having a very small group of people is fine in your inner circle, but you need to have acquaintances and other people, because the other part of it is you're going to grow and other people might not. So what happens to a lot of people is they have relationships that start to be really imbalanced, that are 70, 30, 80, 20, and they actually can be very negative and destructive. And people refuse to let go of these relationships because they don't have anything else. So they're like, well, I might as well have this relationship, even if it's negative, because I don't want to be all alone. And loneliness is something no one wants, because connection and belonging are the reasons that we're here on the planet Earth and we're living today. That's a core need inside of our biology. So you need other people in this process. And I wanted to help people through this book really create the business and life they love through creating the relationships that can make it all happen.
I love this. I absolutely love this. All right. It is time for our resource of the week. So tell me this. How can my listeners find out more about you and how you go about helping entrepreneurs to succeed, Jason?
So they can go to beextraordinary.tv. That's beextraordinary.tv, all one word. And you can find about my book there, a link on Amazon to that. There's coaching programs, soon to be a product in the summer. And there's a lot of resources on blogs and, relationship guides. I've got free networking guides and branding, et cetera, that will help people really help themselves get unstuck and then get an actual plan to take action to get what they want out of their life.
I love this. So it's www.beextraordinary.tv, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Perfect. Folks, your instruction right now is go to that website right now. Go grab as much information as you possibly can. Go buy social wealth. Do yourself a favor. As you know, I'm a major fan of filling your brain with the right information, and this is the right information. So go grab that. All right, Jason, thank you so much for joining me today. I know how busy your schedule is, so it means the world to me that you'd share some of your time and your wisdom with us.
Well, thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Folks, that is all the time we've got today. Thanks so much for tuning into The Real Deal with Jason Silverman. For more info about private coaching or to see if you'd benefit from one of our mastermind groups, visit me over at www.jasonmsilverman.com. I look forward to helping you achieve the success that you truly deserve. Until next time, let me leave you with this. Get out there and be the real deal. Set a goal, make a plan, work like hell towards it, and achieve the success that's waiting for you. Now's the time. Get out there and make it happen. This has been Jason Silverman, and I hope you have a spectacular week.
You've been listening to The Real Deal with Jason Silverman. To access the great resources mentioned in the show and for information on coaching and mastermind group opportunities with Jason, please visit jasonmsilverman.com.